Pineapple Media Podcast Network presents This is Protecting America. Now, here's Emmy-winning journalist Rita Cosby.
Welcome to another edition of Protecting America. I'm Rita Cosby. Everyone is talking about the high-stakes New York City mayoral election, given that many are deeply concerned about Zohran Mamdani and his dangerous views. So just how perilous is the self-described Democratic Socialist who is leading in the polls? Well, joining us to talk about this and more is former New York Congressman and also retired NYPD detective Anthony D. Esposito. Congressman, it's really great to have you here.
Rita, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So how damaging do you believe Zohran Mamdani could be for New York and for America?
I think super dangerous. I mean, when you think about the fact that, on Election Day, the city of New York, one of the city that I think you and I agree is the greatest city on earth, that so many people across the globe look at for leadership and hopes for the future, that we could actually elect a self-proclaimed communist who hates Israel, who hates cops, who wants to make New York City a safe haven for drug addicts and prostitutes and drug dealers, and really continue on the path that Kathy Hochul has led of giving criminals more rights than law-abiding citizens. It is truly scary. And it's also a real indicator of what has become the Democratic Party across the United States of America in 2025. The fact that you have people like Bernie Sanders and AOC in the five boroughs campaigning and advocating for a Zohran Mamdani is frightening. But it tells you that, the other parts of the Democratic Party, just not here in New York State, but specifically people like Kathy Hochul, are falling in line because they are afraid of their left flank. And it's the reason why, the minority leader in the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, has tried to play this game where he was going to push off his support and endorsement of Zohran as long as he can, trying to make the people of New York State and his congressional district, and really, people across America, he wanted to make them think that he was giving it real thought and that perhaps there was a chance that he wasn't going to. But we all know that from Jump Street, Hakeem Jeffries has had his marching orders to endorse Zohran Mamdani, who's become, again, the face of the Democratic Party. And I've spoken to Democrats, and they continue to say that, they have moved into the Republican camp and they're supporting Republican candidates across, Long Island and New York State, not because they left the Democratic Party, but because the Democratic Party left them.
How much do you think he'll also, as you're saying, be sort of a galvanizer for many Mamdanis, if you will, across the country, and also galvanize people like AOC to maybe seek higher office? Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to enthuse Mamdani types across the United States of America, people who have never had a job, people who think that everything should be given away for free, people who believe that we should decriminalize drug use and prostitution and allow our communities to become or go into free falls. People across the United States of America are going to think, well, maybe I have the opportunity to become the next, social media Mamdani. And I think that we're going to see it across the nation. And that is scary. And the fact is that it's going to continue to cost, us Republicans and common sense Republicans, it's going to continue to cost us more and more money to run campaigns. I mean, you think about the amount of money that's spent across the United States of America on campaigns. It's frightening. In my congressional race in 2024, the Democrats spent $32 million against me. This is for a congressional seat on Long Island. So, I mean, think about the money that it's going to cost us to start combating these Zohran Mamdani types. And in New York State, they're doing everything they can to make the Republicans more difficult. I mean, the fact is that if they can't beat us in the ballot box, which if you use a place like Nassau County, for example, where there's 120,000 more Democrats registered than Republicans, and we have a great county executive in Bruce Blakeman. We have a district attorney in Annie Donnelly. We control all three towns in Hempstead with our new supervisor, John Ferretti, Oyster Bay, and North Hempstead, and two cities. But we do that because we have Democrats that have come over to the Republican side, and they are threatened and feel threatened by the potential of a Zohran Mamdani win in New York City. So it's scary to see what's unfolding, and you think about what the future of I served in the NYPD, and you think about what the future is going to become of what I would argue is the greatest police department in the world. What's going to happen if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor, and he begins to make all these decisions to really take the handcuffs and use them on police officers and literally crippling them from doing the job that they can do, and working with what are already progressive DAs to allow criminals to run our streets. It's very scary, and I think we're going to see, if he does win, we're going to see one of the largest mass exodus from institutional knowledge from the New York City Police Department that we've ever seen. So I just think that the effects of this are just so far-reaching. They're so far beyond legislation and protocol that's going to be put in place. I mean, this is going to affect real estate. It's going to affect quality of life. It's going to affect the agencies that run and make our city tick every day. I mean, and it's a very scary situation.
Yeah, there are so many layers. I mean, even on the NYPD end, you're a former cop, a decorated NYPD detective. And Congressman, you look at his rhetoric has been, it's clear as day. He said it in tweets or text messages, tweets, actually, I should say. He said it in those: defund the police, called them racist, called them anti-queer, talked about opening up the jails. I mean, what kind of world is he living in?
One that he's very comfortable in saying things that really wants to divide a city. But the scary thing is that he doesn't just say these things because he's trying to play politics and he's trying to garner support. He says them because he actually believes them. And that's the scary part about this. And you're right. I mean, here's a guy who's been prancing around New York City, campaigning with an unindicted co-conspirator from the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Here's a guy who you think about, besides Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, New York has probably the largest Jewish population anywhere else in the world. And you have a guy who is outright, is an outright anti-Semite who calls for the destruction of the state of Israel, who has cheered on, terrorists like Hamas. I mean, this is what the leadership of, the world's greatest city is going to be. And it's just, it is a telling sign of, again, where the future, or I shouldn't even say the future, I guess where the present Democratic Party is.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Oh, the sick day struggle is real. But with Dimetapp, it doesn't have to be. Children's Dimetapp works quickly to soothe multiple bothersome cough, cold, and allergy symptoms in a single dose. Our fast-acting formulas are designed with kids in mind, so they get everything they need and nothing they don't. Available in liquid and on-the-go chewable tablets. Tap the banner now to shop at Amazon and say goodbye to the sick day struggle with Dimetapp. Use as directed.
What concerns you the most? And let's kind of walk through some of the stuff. Obviously, with the police issues, it's really troubling. He's talked about getting rid of the strategic response group. That's the group, as you know, that responds to some of these very, very difficult situations and also protests, because I guess he wants the protests to go. He was part of them. Yeah,
I mean, not only, does he want to eliminate SRG, and other specialty units that continue to keep our city safe. But, I mean, he has this idea that he wants to give 9/11 operators the authority to decide what 911 calls are dangerous and what are not. I mean, if you even recently, the city council, which is obviously overwhelmingly Democrat, I mean, they've now started this new program where there's no police zones in certain areas. I mean, my old precinct that I worked in for 16 years, the 73rd precinct in Brownsville, Brooklyn, I mean, they created a no cop zone. It's probably 5 blocks by 5 blocks. And they've said that this is an area that unless there's, a violent crime being committed, police are not allowed to enter. Like these are things that most people would read and say, oh, this must be made up, but it's not. It's real, and it's something that I believe Zohran will expand if given the opportunity. And what he's doing with policing is really just disregarding it. And I think, and I've said this before, and one of the things that scares me most is that in New York City, we already have, pretty rogue DAs who make decisions based on, their political beliefs instead of actually following the New York State Penal Code. And I believe that they will be, further inflamed to make decisions that put our city in peril when they have a mayor who absolutely wants to put criminals ahead of law-abiding citizens. So I think there's just so many steps in this. And again, going back to what I said a few minutes ago, I think that we should really be concerned about the exodus of quality law enforcement professionals that could leave the ranks of the NYPD if this guy becomes mayor.
And he's even said also, send a social worker to some of these very difficult situations. I mean, how dangerous is that?
It's extremely dangerous, and that's what I was getting at with the 911 operators. He wants to give the 911 operators the decision-making ability to say, all right, this is something that a cop should go to, or this is something that a social worker could go to. And I will say I have the utmost respect for social workers and the role that they play in our community and the role that they play in rehabilitating some individuals that need rehabilitation, but there's nothing that's going to be the same or replicate a NYPD officer responding to a call for help. And one of the things that he mentioned was domestic violence. And I mean, you think about domestic violence. I mean, these are some of the cases that are become the most volatile, and they happen in seconds. And I've investigated, domestic violence homicides. I've investigated domestic violence that happens in a split second. And to think that, as the mayor of the city of New York, you're going to put those decisions into a 911 operator who, is not on scene, who only has some of the information. It's so insane that, again, it's one of those things. It's so insane that you think it's not real, but it is. And that's just another opportunity for this mayor to make our city less safe and to put victims, in danger and to put NYPD officers in danger.
Yeah, and he also, as you know, the Civilian Complaint Review Board, he wants to have disciplining officers go before the civilian group, many of them with the same mindset as him, and take it away from an NYPD commissioner. That also says that if they don't abide by what he's doing, he's going to haul them before a group of mini Mamdanis.
Exactly. And, thankfully, the NYPD PBA and its leadership recently had put out a statement of how, insanely partisan and anti-cop CCRB is. And it's sad to say, but these complaints, many of them are baseless. There's been reports of defense attorneys who encourage their clients to make CCRB complaints just to muddy the waters in preparations for hearings or trials. I mean, you think about my campaign for Congress, both in 22 and 24. I mean, that's what the Democrats focused on. They took my CCRB complaints, which 99% of them were exonerated, and the other 1% were settled by the city, even though I asked them to go to trial and to fight it. That's what cops are dealing with. So you have to live forever with the decision that this partisan board makes. And most of these people that are making the decisions have never done a day of police work in their life. So it's another thing where, we've heard from people whose parents, whose grandparents, whose great-grandparents have legacies in the NYPD, and they're telling their nieces, their nephews, they're telling their grandchildren, it was a job that I loved, but please don't take this job. And that said, it's the history and the traditions of the NYPD go on, for over 100 years. And the fact is that, you're going to start losing qualified law enforcement professionals because of the reckless decisions of individuals like Zohran Mamdani.
And then you're going to have a mayor, if he were to be elected, who's going to tell the NYPD, don't cooperate with ICE. I mean, that's a disaster, too.
Yeah, and not just ICE. I mean, obviously, ICE is on the table right now because it's everything that we're talking about. But think about the federal partnerships that we have, whether it's the Joint Terrorist Task Force in providing information and intelligence and hunting down terrorists and those who want to cause harm to the United States of America. Think about our Drug Enforcement Task Force, those who work with federal partners in order to investigate those peddling poison into the city of New York or surrounding communities. Think about our Firearms Task Force with, federal ATF agents that works traveling the I-95, what we call the Iron Pipeline, to talk to gun traffickers and to cultivate information to take those dangerous firearms, illegal firearms, off the streets. I mean, all those cooperation agreements, stand a chance to be eliminated. And all that does is make the lives of the NYPD cops harder, and it makes a city less safe.
What did you make of the recent comments that Zohran Mamdani made about 9/11? He talked about an ante. There's a lot of questions about this ante, but regardless of that, he's focused on what he perceived as, he said, Islamophobia that she experienced on the subway. And a lot of people found it insincere that he didn't say anything about the, nearly 3,000 Americans who were killed on 9/11.
Because he doesn't care. He's so focused on himself and self-absorbed into what he thinks he is. And I mean, let's be honest, when you walk into a stadium like he did last night with AOC, with Bernie Sanders, with Governor Hochul, and you have, close to 15,000 people cheering your name because you want to give everything in the city away for free, I think it clouds your mind. And he's not focused on the thoughts and the feelings of everyday New Yorkers. He's focused on the thoughts and feelings of communists just like himself. And you're absolutely right. The fact is that he should be, compassionate and focused on what happened on September 11th to make sure that our city is prepared to never happen again. But when you are talking about becoming the mayor and ending federal partnerships and cooperation with law enforcement agencies, that doesn't tell me that you have the best interest of the city of New York at hand. That doesn't tell me that you want to keep our community safe. That doesn't tell me that you want to make sure we thwart every opportunity for another terrorist attack. It tells me that you are playing to the hand of these progressive, far-left lunatics that are rooting for you on every corner of the city of New York.
Well, and also, he was friends with, and he had at that rally a guy named Hassan Piker, who in the past said that America basically deserved 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the people that he's surrounding himself with. So I think it tells us that the decision-making and the thoughts that Zohran Mamdani has is not for the best interest of the city of New York. It's not for the best interest of the people that live here, visit here, or work here. And he has an agenda. And obviously, he's using the opportunity to run for the mayor of the city of New York as a springboard to God knows what else he wants to run for. But listen, the mayor's race in the city of New York has become a national news story because unfortunately, the media has created Zohran Mamdani as this, this superstar running for office in the city of New York. And again, what needs to be talked about is the fact that he is the face. He is the ideology. He is the ideas of the Democratic Party that's current in the United States of America.
My favorite thing about Shipt since I signed up for Target Circle 360? No price markups when I order same-day delivery from tons of local stores. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. I won't lie, I've had too much fun being like, markups on groceries? Not in my fridge. Markups on pet food? Not for my DOG. Markups on tools, electronics, home goods, meds? Not in my house. Anyway, it's awesome. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
You know, you touched on it before, and I just want to finalize by talking about the anti-Semitic views, because some of his comments have been so just shocking. He won't recognize Israel as a Jewish state. He keeps saying he wants to arrest Netanyahu. Even on the phrase globalize the Intifada, he kind of danced around why he's not going to use it anymore because somebody told him it's not a good phrase. Well, it's obviously not a good phrase.
Right.
But your reaction to all of those things about Zohran Mamdani?
It's sad, and it is, again, it's a scary situation that you have somebody who's running to be the mayor of the city of New York and leading in every poll, and quite frankly, like you mentioned, has called for the elimination of the state of Israel, has praised, anti-Semitic acts and words throughout his career, a short one. But it has to tell you he's laying the foundation for what the future of New York City is going to be. We had a local judge here who recently visited London and was attacked in London because he simply was wearing a kippah on his head. I mean that unfortunately we already see that in places like New York City, and thankfully we have the New York City Police Department to investigate it. But those situations are only going to become more common when you have someone leading the city who encourages it and feels that it's okay to do things like that. And quite frankly, I'm not sure how as someone who has deep relationships with the Jewish community, especially here in Nassau County, it baffles me how any Jewish New Yorker would even think about casting their ballot for someone like Zohran Mamdani.
I agree. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking that anybody who's Jewish or Jewish relations, right, or Jewish ties, or just even understanding of the difficult stripes that the difficult experiences of the Jewish people.
Absolutely, and again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it baffles my mind to see Jewish individuals, not only saying that they're going to cast their ballot for Zohran Mamdani, but defending the anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish comments that he makes. And I think that, there's an opportunity here for New York to come together. And I actually said it today. I mean, there's 4.7 million people registered to vote in New York City. And if more of them took their, the rights that were fought for and given to them to cast their ballot in an election for mayor, we would be, because I truly believe in my heart that there are much more people who want New York City to be safe, that want the future of New York City to be prosperous. And if more of those 4.7 million people came out to vote, we wouldn't be concerned about Zohran Mamdani winning this election.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody has to get out and vote. And there is so much at stake, but you're right. If people really, the good folks all came out and vote and express their views, I agree. Well, maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be, maybe the polls may be off, right? We'll find out, right?
We'll never see.
You never know. Well, everybody, be sure to subscribe and share to this podcast. Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, thank you. It's so great to have you on such an important topic.
Thanks, Rita. Stay safe.
And everybody, I'll be back soon with another great edition of Protecting America. And of course, you can catch me every weeknight, 10 p.m. to midnight on the legendary WABC Radio. This is Rita Cosby, and thanks for all you do to protect America.